Changeling is a 2008 American mystery crime drama film directed, produced, and scored by Clint Eastwood and written by J. Michael Straczynski. The story was based on real-life events, specifically the 1928 Wineville chicken coop murders in Mira Loma, California. It stars Angelina Jolie as a woman united with a boy who she realizes is not her missing son. When she tries to demonstrate this to the police and city authorities, she is vilified as delusional, labeled as an unfit mother, and confined to a psychiatric ward. The film explores themes of child endangerment, female disempowerment, political corruption, mistreatment of mental health patients, and the repercussions of violence. Working in 1983 as a special correspondent for the now-defunct TV Cable Week magazine, Straczynski first encountered the story of Christine Collins and her son from a Los Angeles City Hall contact. Over the ensuing years he kept researching the story, but never felt he was ready to tackle it. Out of television writing for several years and practically blacklisted in the industry because he was considered difficult to work with, he returned to researching and then finally writing the story in 2006. Almost all of the film's script was drawn from thousands of pages of documentation. His first draft became the shooting script. It was his first film screenplay to be produced. Ron Howard had intended to direct the film, but scheduling conflicts led to his replacement by Eastwood. Howard and his Imagine Entertainment partner Brian Grazer produced Changeling alongside Malpaso Productions' Robert Lawrence and Eastwood. Universal Pictures financed and distributed the film. Several actors campaigned for the leading role. Ultimately, Eastwood decided that Jolie's face would suit the 1920s period setting. The film also stars Jeffrey Donovan, Jason Butler Harner, John Malkovich, Michael Kelly, and Amy Ryan. While some characters are composites, most are based on actual people. Principal photography, which began on October 15, 2007, and concluded a few weeks later in December, took place in Los Angeles and other locations in Southern California. Actors and crew noted that Eastwood's low-key direction resulted in a calm set and short working days. In post-production, scenes were supplemented with computer-generated skylines, backgrounds, vehicles and people. Changeling premiered to critical acclaim at the 61st Cannes Film Festival on May 20, 2008. Additional festival screenings preceded a limited release in the United States on October 24, 2008, followed by a general release in North America on October 31, 2008, in the United Kingdom on November 26, 2008, and in Australia on February 5, 2009. Critical reaction was more mixed than at Cannes. While the acting and story were generally praised, the film's conventional staging and lack of nuance were criticized. Changeling earned $113 million in box office revenue worldwide, of which $35.7 million came from the United States and Canada, and received nominations in 3 Oscar and 8 BAFTA award categories. Storyline. In Los Angeles in 1928, single mother Christine Collins returns home to discover that her 9-year-old son, Walter, is missing. Reverend Gustav Briegleb publicizes Christine's plight and rails against the Los Angeles Police Department, L.A.P.D, for its incompetence, corruption, and the extrajudicial punishment meted out by its gun squad, led by Chief James E. Davis. Several months after Walter's disappearance, the L.A.P.D tells Christine that the boy has been found alive. Believing the positive publicity will negate recent criticism of the department, the L.A.P.D organizes a public reunion. Although Walter claims he is Christine's son, she says he is not. Captain J.J. Jones, the head of the L.A.P.D's juvenile division, insists the boy is Walter and pressures Christine into taking him home on a trial basis. After Christine confronts Jones with physical discrepancies between Walter and her son, Jones arranges for a medical doctor to visit her. The doctor tells Christine that Walter is 3 inches shorter than before his disappearance because trauma has shrunk his spine and that the man who took Walter had him circumcised. A newspaper prints a story implying that Christine is an unfit mother. Briegleb tells Christine it was planted by police to discredit her. Both Walter's teacher and his dentist give Christine signed letters asserting that Walter is an imposter. Christine tells her story to the press. As a result, Jones sends her to Los Angeles County Hospital's psychopathic ward. She befriends inmate Carol Dexter, who tells Christine she is one of several women who were sent there for challenging police authority. Dr. Steele diagnoses Christine as delusional and forces her to take mood-regulating pills. Steele says he will release Christine if she admits she was mistaken about Walter. She refuses. Detective Ibarra travels to a ranch in Wineville, Riverside County, to arrange the deportation of 15-year-old Sanford Clark to Canada. The boy's uncle, Gordon Northcott, has fled after a chance encounter with Ibarra, who mentions his business there as being a juvenile matter. Clark tells Ibarra that Northcott forced him to help kidnap and murder around 20 children, and he identifies Walter as one of them. Jones tells Biographical that Christine is in protective custody following a mental breakdown. Jones orders Clark's deportation, but Ibarra takes Clark to the murder site and tells him to dig where the bodies are buried. Clark hesitates, but he soon uncovers body parts. Biographical secures Christine's release by showing Steele a newspaper story about the Wineville killings that names Walter as a possible victim. Under interrogation by Ibarra, Walter's imposter reveals that his motive was to secure transport to Los Angeles to see his favorite actor, Tom Mix, and says the police told him to lie about being Christine's son. The police capture Northcott in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Meanwhile, Biographical introduces Christine and her case to famed attorney S.S. Hahn, who takes the case pro bono and quickly secures a court order for the release of other unjustly imprisoned women whom the police wanted to silence. On the day of the city council's hearing in the case, Christine, Hahn, and Biographical arrive at Los Angeles City Hall, where they encounter thousands of protesters demanding answers from the city and decrying the L.A.P.D. The hearing is intercut with scenes from Northcott's trial. The council concludes that Jones and Davis should be removed from duty and that extrajudicial internments by police must be stopped. Northcott's jury finds him guilty of murder, and the judge sentences him to death by hanging. 2 years later, Christine has still not given up her search for Walter. Northcott sends her a message saying he is willing to admit to killing Walter on condition that Christine meets him before his execution. She visits Northcott, but he refuses to tell her if he killed her son. Northcott is executed the next day. In 1935, David Clay, one of the boys assumed to have been killed, is found alive in Hesperia, California. He reveals that one of the boys with whom he was imprisoned was Walter and that Walter, another boy, and he escaped but were separated. David does not know whether Walter was recaptured, but he says Walter helped him escape, giving Christine hope he is alive. In the epilogue, it states that after the hearing, Captain Jones was suspended, Chief Davis was demoted, and Los Angeles Mayor George Cryer chose not to run for re-election. That California's state legislature made it illegal to forcibly commit people to psychiatric facilities based solely on the word of authorities. That Rev. Biographical continued to use his radio show to expose police misconduct and political corruption. That Wineville is said to have changed its name to Mira Loma to escape the stigma of the murders, and that Christine Collins reportedly never stopped searching for her son. Did you know? Clint Eastwood agreed to direct the same afternoon he read the script. Clint Eastwood said in the DVD extras that part of the reason why he cast Angelina Jolie is that she is a mother, so she knows what it would feel like if one of her kids was kidnapped. Some scenes were filmed at a train station in San Bernardino, California during the 2007 California brush fires. The whole set was thick with fire smoke. The theme song for this movie was loosely based on the song Baby Mine from Dumbo, 1941. The cast includes one Oscar winner, Angelina Jolie, and 2 Oscar nominees, John Malkovich and Amy Ryan. The screenplay for this movie was featured in the 2006 Blacklist, a list of the most liked unmade scripts of the year. See you later. Thanks for the subscription.